I was looking up some figures right now about taxing the wealthy. So the numbers are, you know what they are. What the top 1% pays 40%, whatever it is. Top 10% pays more than the bottom 90%. To make it better for you, or you think maybe we do better in terms of revenue versus spending at the government, what should the 1% actually pay if 40% isn't enough? Would 50% be better? And for the top 10%, instead of paying 90% of taxes, should they pay 100%? What would be more progressive for you?
Well, remember, when you look at those numbers, the 1% pay so much in part because they make so much. Their share of the income has doubled, right? So, that's a big thing.
But what number would be better for you, do you think? Where would you like to go? 50%, 60, 80?
For the top marginal, we know that
no, top 1%, how much of the total tax bill would you like them to pay?
Well, the Laffer curve will probably hit its peak around 80%, so we shouldn't be above that. But we could go back to the Eisenhower rates of, say, 70%, and have a very productive economy that worked very well for all Americans. Now, it's important to distinguish between income taxes and wealth taxes, which right now, we do tax wealth in certain kinds of ways. For instance, home prices and home taxes. And there it's a very different story, where middle-class people generally pay twice as much on their wealth than the very wealthy, because the very wealthy hide their money in, overseas, or it's in forms of wealth that isn't taxed very highly. Right, so I think looking there would be a more equitable way to
We were talking individual taxes there. Let's talk corporate taxes, because you also didn't like the tax reform law there that you said was rushed, I think, even though I think Obama talked about cutting corporate taxes for 8 years, just never got to. I'm not sure how much of a rush it was, but do you have a problem with U.S. corporations just having a more competitive tax rate than global corporations? And I hope you're not just going to tell me that their effective tax rate was much lower, because they did pay more, and you would like assets to come here, not be left offshore. You'd like to be able to be competitive globally, right? Or am I wrong on that? You'd like to go back to where we were?
I think the way that President Obama and many other people, not just on the left, looked at, say, about a 23 to 25% corporate tax rate, which is much lower than it was before, but that was deficit neutral and largely got rid of loopholes.
But that's not what you were saying, Matt. You're not talking about deficit neutral. You're talking about just it's a gift to the wealthy, cutting corporations' taxes when. No, you're not saying that you wanted it deficit neutral. Your point was you didn't want to cut taxes on corporations at all, or did you?
Well, I think most people are in favor of making the corporate tax code more competitive, but not in a way that just made them pay less taxes overall, but made them pay taxes in a way that was fairer and more open for other corporations.
Okay.
I think at this moment, giving hundreds of billions of dollars to corporations when corporations are already incredibly profitable.
It was their money. You're not giving them anything. You're taking less of what. David, let me hear we only got a minute left, so you got a lot to work with there, but you can handle it.
Look, the lower tax rates have been beneficial for everybody, particularly the middle-class Americans. Wages have gone up $2,300 per family over the last year, lowest unemployment in 13 years. You've seen 2.5 million jobs created. When you have lower taxes, everybody benefits. And same thing on the wealth tax. The whole vicious cycle that you guys mentioned was going to happen in New York, and I think you're right on the property taxes, will happen on income if we go to 70, 80%. You'll see fewer people working or investing their money because they don't get the reward for it.